Welcome to Knife Thoughts. This video is going to be on this knife, and this is a special case Barlow made for the Barlow Bearcat Club. So first of all, I actually thought that I had already made a video on this knife. I went to look for it in my videos and realized that it wasn't there. So we've had these knives for a while. The club got them here in 2024, and I just didn't get to a video, I guess. I think I carried it for a long time and then put it on my display with my other Barlow Bearcat Club club knives, and then just kind of didn't get back to it. So anyway, I wanted to make sure to make a video on this. And so the first thing is, what is the Barlow Bearcat Club? If you're not familiar with it, it's a club that I started in 2022. Here's a copper coin that we've got. I actually just today drilled a hole in this one just for fun to see if it would work as a keychain. And you can see this is kind of our logo here. But it's a club for people who are enthusiasts for or fans of Barlow knives, and really knives in general, traditional knives in general. And we've got some really cool club knives so far. We've had a couple from GEC. I'll show you one here to compare the size in a little bit. Here is 2024's GEC club knife. We've had some from Tracy Laroque. Here's a Tracy Laroque Barlow from this year, actually. But then we also got these. So the idea behind these was kind of a little bit more of a budget-friendly option of an official Barlow Bearcat Club knife. We actually also have a kind of do-it-yourself club knife where you can have any Barlow engraved with the logo set up with an engraver. And it's relatively inexpensive to have it done. And so, whatever knife you have, as long as you're in the club, you can get it engraved. But this is kind of like an official Barlow club knife with the club logo on the bolster. These were, I think these were like $85, something like that. And that was real close to cost. In fact, it ended up kind of being a little bit of a, it didn't add anything to the club's treasury, we'll say that. But it was definitely a cool thing because Case is such a classic company. I don't have a huge number of Case knives. I think if you're watching this video, it's likely that you're aware that, they often do have some quality control or fit and finish issues, especially in comparison to, GEC or other brands like that. But they are a very classic company, and so it was really cool to get these made. Now, basically, this is a normal Case Barlow that's either out or coming out here in 2024. I believe already is out. And I'm making this at the very end of 2024, so you'll probably see it in 2025. But with our club logo engraved on the bolster. And so that kind of makes it our own. And we got, I think, 40 of these, maybe 50 of them, something like that, made. And so I wish I could have done a video showing kind of like the spread of the quality. It was actually a lot better than I was kind of concerned or expecting. There were certainly a lot of them that were off-center. Mine here is slightly off-center. I basically picked one at random for myself, but mine is slightly off-center. There were a couple with blade play. Mine doesn't have any. And then there were just a few with bad action. So they basically didn't snap open and closed. Those ones I actually ended up giving away to club members, but they did, the people behind this, it's actually not Case themselves, it's another kind of company that does the engraving, but it is like official, like it's warranted by Case and everything. But the people behind it were more than happy to fix those ones that did have like actual practical issues. But I decided to just give them away, and people could kind of, either just put them up or fix them themselves. But most of them were pretty good. The edges actually weren't even quite as rough and toothy as I was expecting, considering what I've seen from Case. Now, one thing is that there were some or all of them. I actually am not 100% sure because I didn't notice it much, at least at first, that where the etch is not 100% like centered. And I think that this one also is like that. You can see it's somewhat rotated counterclockwise, if I can get that to show, and also somewhat towards the blade well side. So, you know, kind of wish that they had gotten that more right, because that's not so much on case and is more on the, you know, that the company that does the etching and stuff, such. But it is what it is. They, you know, under $100 knife made in the USA. Another interesting thing about these is that this shield, which I much prefer Barlow's to not have a shield, but this was the only single blade option that we were given, and I prefer a single blade. I know two blade Barlows are actually probably more traditional, but I prefer single blades. It also happened to be a stainless option, which I prefer. I know a lot of people also prefer carbon steel, but I prefer stainless steel. And it did have this shield. The interesting thing was the shield was actually placed very, you know, differently on some of these knives. So it seemed like what they did is they tried to place it within one of these valleys. So if there was a valley like here, sometimes the shield would be quite a ways over here. So that was an interesting thing. I didn't realize that they changed the placement of the shield depending on the covers. But these are, let me show you the box here. These are bone Stag. That's the other thing, is actually the first kind of traditional knife I remember. It wasn't actually mine, but the first one I remember I found in my, so apparently we got these in September. That seems like it was earlier than that. But anyway, the first traditional knife I remember was a bone Stag, I think Tiny Trapper. I found it in my basement when I was growing up, and it turned out it was one of my brother's. But anyway, that was kind of a cool connection. And I do think that the bone Stag is really nice. You know, it's got kind of the saw cut look. It's got these valleys. So I was really happy with the bone. I was also pretty impressed with the gapping. Not many of these had gapping, at least not significant gapping. So, you know, I was happy with them for the price that they were. And I really have enjoyed using this knife because it's like, you know, you don't have to worry too much about using it. To be completely honest, I don't use my GEC club knives. So I don't love that. Like, I prefer to use knives. I might at some point start using those. I don't know. But the problem is that the etch that kind of shows that they're from the club is on the blade and the carbon steel. So, you know, if you use it and then have to like wipe patina off or something, you lose your etch. So the nice thing here is that you can use it and not worry about that. But speaking of GEC, I do want to show you it in comparison to a GEC 15 TC Barlow. Again, this is the 2024 GEC club knife for the Barlow Bearcat Club. You can see the logo there. It's actually not something I've discussed with the club or GEC yet, but I think I'm going to try to add some wording to that. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this is that. Got kind of off track there thinking about that, but you can see that the case is smaller. It's shorter, a little bit maybe stockier, but definitely shorter. So if you're not familiar with a case Barlow, that's what it looks like in comparison to a GEC 15. But again, I'm happy with these. I think really the vast majority of people who got them were happy. A few people weren't happy because they had off-center etches or things like that. But I think generally the club members were really happy. So I was glad that this got done. Again, thanks to Alex for really kind of sparking the idea and getting this going. So he's had a lot of great ideas for the club. But anyway, I just wanted to make a video on this one. If you like Barlow's, you can find a link to apply below. I would probably do it after the new year, just so for my tracking, but certainly we're open for new members. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell and select all so you know when I post new videos. Leave any comments below. Check out my website, knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives like this and knife-related topics, and also have info on the club. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.